Hey, what's good, y'all? Fusion here, back with another video. Today we're just going to be talking about the Team USA roster. This team has garnered a lot of attention, I guess. I mean, I was going to say that they're struggling, but they're not. This team is really fucking good. And it's just a lot of small things here and there that I guess could be worked on, but it's really not that big of a deal. Like, you got top three currently in the NBA on this team. Well, from the U.S., Steph, KD, and LeBron. You got Jason Tatum, who gets no minutes. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about why Jason Tatum will get no minutes. Like AD, a great defender. Bam Adebayo. You got Devin Booker. You got great offensive talent on here. Anthony Edwards, Tyrese Halliburton, Derek White. So there's great players on this team. What's the problem? Why is everybody fighting over some bullshit about minutes? Let's go ahead and talk about it. I'm just going to go ahead and get right to the point. There should be only 3 players on this roster that should be having plays written for them. Who should be having plays ran through them, excuse me. Whatever. Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, and LeBron. There should be plays drawn out for them getting the ball. Everybody else needs to understand and realize you are a supporting cast character. Ant is a little different. That's why he comes off the bench and is the spark plug. But everybody else, you got to understand you're supporting cast. You got maybe 4 or 5 dribbles, and then after that, just give the ball up. If you don't see anything, run it through them. That's all it is. And he needs to get that. I believe he understands it, but he needs to understand it a little bit more, I think. And Tyrese Halliburton needs to jump in. The reason I'm saying this is because the other players on this roster have a good secondary skill besides scoring. And by that, I mean AD, Devin Booker, and Bam. AD and Bam specifically, great defensive minds, great rebounding. Lob threats, can play off the pick and roll. I think that big men just in general have an easy way to find a way to be impactful on the court without having the ball in their hand and without needing to be a scorer. Devin Booker, he's always been a solid defender. I think he really stepped up his defense, his defensive IQ. You're seeing great defense from him, great hustle. Of course, he's still scoring the basketball, but he's doing the secondary thing. He's doing it well. And he is playing as a glue guy. I'm pretty sure he's learning a lot of game. He's seeing what's going on. He will have his time where his number is called. Because it's still Devin Booker. He's still an offensive threat. But he's biding his time. He's being that guy who is sacrificing touches and scoring to win the game. He's making the extra pass. So, shout out to those 3 for sure. Anthony Edwards, he's coming off the bench, so he has sort of an exception. That being said, I think he's better, and we're seeing a lot of like who is top dog and who isn't top dog. I think Anthony Edwards is trying to break into the top dog conversation, and I think he can break through the top dog conversation. He has the charisma. I think a lot of the NBA players on here, especially like the Kevin Durant's and the LeBrons of the world, do respect him, do hold him to a standard, because this team was a threat in the playoffs. Of course, they sort of fell out towards the end there. I think they needed the experience, and now they got it, and I think they can push to a finals appearance. I think that team is good. And a lot of it is because of Anthony Edwards. A lot of it is because of this man right here. And I think he's trying to take his Minnesota play style into here. And I think because he is coming off the bench, that works. I think that's why that Joel Embiid did have problems. I think that's why he gets very limited minutes. He's a big man as well, but I feel like a lot of what his role has always been is a scoring big man. So he can still space the floor, hit mid-range jumpers, get on the block when needed. He's a solid defender. I would want to see him push that more, and I think his number will be called at some point. I think that there's a way where you could play Joel Embiid and AD at the same time, and put Tyrese Halliburton in, who will have to convert to a pass first point guard if he's not already. I sort of see points where he does that, but then his team calls for him to be a scorer. I think now he can go to his, I think, most comfortable thought process on being that passing point guard. And I think that could work. It does seem like that they have problems in the half court, but you run a Tyrese Halliburton. What's a good two that you could put out there? Derek White, Jason Tatum. And then you can throw out a KD, Jason Tatum, LeBron, and then throw down AD and Joel Embiid, and I think you have a great half court team who can run a play or run a high low with the two bigs. I think that I would prefer to see AD at the power forward position. I think that's his natural position, and I think he could play that position well. I think he didn't have a lot of chances to play that position, but if we go back to when the Pelicans picked up DeMarcus Cousins, you saw a lot of big-to-big gameplay. And you saw what could work because I think that AD is a guard trapped in a big man's body. I think that's what he's always thought he was. He did have that crazy growth spurt, so that's why. But I don't think he got out of that mindset yet. I think last year you saw a huge step up and change. But I need to see more of it before I can 100% say that he is out of that mindset. This would be a time where he could sort of lean into that guard skill, though. The passing mindset, the back cutting, the finding a way to get to the basket just by going by your man. I think we could see a lot of that if you pair him up with Joel Embiid. And then Joel Embiid can also eat off that because I could also say that Joel Embiid could play that power forward type of position. He can space the floor. I don't think he's fast enough or athletic enough against certain power forwards, but against the FIBA, the World Cup, these other countries, I feel like Joel Embiid could play that just fine. And you could run a 2-box or a one player on high post, one on low post, and then make it run like that. But having the Tyrese Halliburton and Derek White and either KD or Jason Tatum or some combination of that, not needing the ball and seeing there is a possible mismatch here, feed it to those two and then let them eat. I think that could work. I understand why they got Derek White instead of Jaylen Brown. You needed another glue guy, someone who doesn't need to have the ball to be effective. Derek White does that. He's always been a solid defender. He has pretty good IQ. He looks annoying as hell, so I'm sure he's annoying as hell on the floor. He can hit the three. He can spot up. He can do those things, but also he doesn't need the ball to be effective. So you get him instead of Mr. No Left, and then now you got a cohesive team. Jason Tatum, I feel like, is another odd man out because I think he's offensively gifted, but he's not Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, LeBron James offensively gifted. You know, I feel like he's good enough. But why draw a play for Jason Tatum when you can just draw a play for taller Jason Tatum, if that makes sense, with Kevin Durant. So I think that is what's going on in Steve Kerr's head. It's like, okay, I need to find a way to make Jason Tatum be Jason Tatum, not just Kevin Durant light. I think that is where the challenge is. And I think certain sets, you can work him in. If Kevin Durant or LeBron does get tired and you need another small forward, shooting guard type player who can score on the offensive end and still keep up with defense, you can throw Jason Tatum in. But I think it's just hard to put him in. It is. But definitely those three, Jason Tatum, Joel Embiid. I think Tyrese Halliburton can fit. He just needs to understand what his role is now, and I think he can do it. Of course, we're very, very early, but I think that would be the best way to fit Tyrese Halliburton into a half court offense, or because like this team struggled with half court, so let him run the half court offense. Him and LeBron and someone else who can pass and score when needed, but their main goal is to get these two big men scoring the basketball. If they're playing against a smaller team, you can destroy them, and then just throw Kevin Durant out there just to, I don't know, just to piss him off, I guess, because that's even more height. So, yeah. And shout out to Drew Holiday as well. I think he was one of the only options for point guard. Let me tell you what. I think Kyrie, I think we saw in this season that he knows how to play a good Robin. I think the problem is he doesn't know when to turn on Batman because he doesn't want to step on people's toes. I think a lot of times in that Denver series, and not Denver, Boston series, you saw a lot of him deferring, passing up shots. He was missing shots, but also he was not taking usual Kyrie shots. And I think he was trying to get Luka going so much that he didn't realize he is an offensive monster as well. And that's me speculating. I think that he's a great player. He knows how to get out of his way when needed. I think a lot of what the media has been saying sort of was like, okay, he seems like he's doing what is needed. But Kyrie Irving is a scorer at heart. And it's hard to take that away from him. It's hard for him to be the second guy. When I feel like even on that team, when he was like deferring to Luka, he could have been the guy still. I think offensively, Kyrie's still better than Luka. I think he can break down players better. I think he can score the basketball better. He can shoot the basketball better. I think that there's a lot of what Kyrie does that's better than Luka. The only thing is I think Kyrie was trying to be the Robin here, or on that Mavs team. And I think he needs to balance it and be like, look, I got to be my own hero sometimes. And I think that is one thing there. Also, that series, Luka was bitching too damn much. So I think that was also a layer. I think that Kyrie didn't want to add more I'm not getting the ball type shit of what Luka could say if he was crying already about fouls and shit. But yeah, that's sort of what I was thinking. Sorry to go on a tangent. Anyway, I think he wouldn't know how to work with all these great players as he is right now. Or I don't think... Actually, it's an even deeper layer than that. I don't think Steve Kerr would have knew what to do with him because of his style of play. Yeah, Steve Kerr wouldn't know what to do. That's another offensive monster. Someone who needs touches. Someone who can play off the ball, but why would you want Kyrie Irving off the ball? So that's sort of why I think they didn't get him and got Drew Holiday. So that's why I think that Drew Holiday was probably the best option. Biased opinion, I want to see Russ. I like watching Russ play. That's pure bias. I don't know if they could have made room for him or if he was. I think he's good enough, but I think currently to make it to the roster, was he good enough? I don't know. I think all these players played better than him this year, so maybe not. But again, So yeah, Drew Holiday was the best option. He knows how to play defense. He's a great mind in basketball. I can see him being a coach at some point. Great leader. Understands. Perfect example. Drew Holiday knew when to be his own hero in that series. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown were playing well, but there were games and stretches where Drew Holiday was the best player on the court. Stretches where he was better than everybody. So I think that's I think that just shows it right there. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. I was rambling, but I feel like that this was. I do think that this team is great. I think that the roster itself is great. I just think that they need to clean up a couple things. Like, they're still winning games. I think that the coaching staff can figure it out. I think Steve Kerr needs to defer a little bit more to these three, especially Eric Spoelstra. I think Eric Spoelstra has experience with coaching, should I say stronger personalities in that Miami Heat team? Because Steve Kerr, he coached Steph, Clay, Kevin Durant, and Draymond. The strongest personality there is Draymond, and not even any of your stars. Eric Spoelstra had to coach LeBron, D. Wade. There's other players on that roster who had strong opinions and wanted to do what they wanted. Mario Chalmers comes to mind. And you still want to find time to get your other players who knows like their role to keep them happy as well. Ray Allen, Chris Bosh, Shane Battier. So you can see that he could probably be a great head coach here. I think it should have been him, honestly. And I think that Ty Lue is just a good coach. Again, I think he has a good coaching style, but I think Eric Spoelstra would have been the best option here. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Hit the link in the description down below to become a member. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.